Rinna may have returned to the top spot at Spa, but the real story is T and Seppa tied for points. They each sit on a single win this season, and both have been prone to errors. And though drop points will certainly change the complexion of their fight, both cannot afford to waste too many points. The charging Ascari will gladly gobble up their lead. Let's see what today's race holds in store as we get ready to watch round 8 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Zandvoort used to be one of the lesser used track here in iRacing, but in the past year or so, it's seen a resurgence. Let's head to our track guide to see what's attracted drivers to bring it back to the schedule. Welcome to Zandvoort. This track just to the west of Amsterdam fell into obscurity, but is getting new life in recent times thanks to a resurgence of Formula One fans in the country. Back in the mid-20th century, it hosted the Formula One Dutch Grand Prix for nearly 30 years. Granted, it was on a much faster and more flowing layout. Nowadays, the 5 different versions which are available to be run are mostly tight and technical. The shortest one is a little under a mile, while even the longest only stretches to a little over 2.5 miles. These tiny lengths, plus the narrowness of the track and its lack of long straights, make passing almost maddeningly difficult. The 2 most common spots are Tarzan, which is the first corner, and Hans Ernst, which is the final chicane. Even though it has recently been updated in the real world with more banking, even on the old track here on iRacing, it has an unusual amount of camber for a road course. The 2 aforementioned turns, along with Hugenholz and Schieflock, allow drivers to carry more speed than you'd expect. It also gives drivers a chance to take slightly unusual lines. Like most old school tracks, runoff is minimal. Mistakes in a few of the faster turns tend to allow no time for recovery and a big repair bill. Another unique quality is the fact that Zandvoort is literally next to the beach on the North Sea. Therefore, the sand easily blows its way onto the track surface and lessens grip. It's a tricky place to race, and even trickier circuit to win at. But with the beautiful surroundings, great history, and a mob of enthusiastic fans donning orange, you can't help but want to go visit this fantastic venue. A little bit about Circuit Park Zandvoort, which should actually see modern day F1 return to here soon, Ryan. But what's it going to be like taking these old Lotus 79 cars out here?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge with these classic Lotus 79 cars around this 2.671 mile track. Yeah, you've got the high speed corners, you've got slow speed corners. It's got a bit of everything. It's got twisty corners, you've got elevation corners, and in real life, the track went through a bit of a reconfiguration for the expected return of F1. But unfortunately, that didn't happen with the real life circumstances taking place at the moment. But nevertheless, it'll be host to the classic Lotus 79 series today, and I think we should be in for a fantastic race.
Oh, as well. We've seen some good ones here with this series, but it's got a lot of cars out there. Before we get to that, let's look at the championship. As I mentioned, T and Seppa are tied on points up at the top, with Rinna only 41 points behind. Now he's missed a couple rounds, so the drop weeks will bring him back to the 4 here in just a bit, and that could really offer him a chance to steal it away from the both of them. Vadio Congas a little bit farther back, followed by Millward and Simone. They're in 5th place, also tied on points. What about the team standings here, Ryan? What are we looking with that?
Yeah, the team standings is really close at the moment. You've got Scuderia Ferrari with Seppa, Viano, Congas, and Rofkrans currently leading that championship, with second place going to the Renault Elf team with Vasco Lafayette, T and Pacilis. And then rounding out the top 3, you've got the Essex John Player team Lotus with Simone Partanen and Tiolis. And third, with Fritz, Dietrich, and Herner with the Arrows team in 4th, and the 5th place with Marlborough team Alfa Romeo with Rene Leocata and Corani, and round out the top 5.
In case we have viewers who are tuning in for the first time, first of all, welcome. I think you're in for a treat here with this series. But the race details means that it is round 8 out of 12, but it's 35 laps that they're running today. They do get around this place relatively quickly. That is an open setup series, which means anything you could do to the real Lotus 79, they can do to these cars to try and get it tuned in. And they have some incident limits that will serve penalties and then eventually give them a complete disqualification if they have too many of those incidents. Now, Rina actually leads Freakton Kate and Andy T right now in the qualifying. Andy was actually talking to me a little bit before the race, saying that Freak has been unstoppable in the previous races during the week. With this being an official iRacing series, they hold more than just this one. This is for their Sunday championship. Freesia across the line is going to get him into fourth on his first lap, Ryan. And I suspect that these qualifying times are going to be so important with how difficult it's been to pass at this track in just about every car.
Yeah, absolutely. Zandvoort is one of those tracks that you can make a move, but especially this middle sector that we're looking at now, at Fritzer's coming through, it's a bit difficult to make a move through there, and it's one of those kind of like one-line sections, if you like. So passing here is going to be difficult for sure. So getting a great qualifying and getting a good start off the line could be two main factors on this race today.
Andy T is, actually he just had a big slip up into the first corner, so I don't think he's going to be able to take a second lap. That means he's not going to be able to improve on his third place. Vimal down here with the number 23 has missed his first lap, but he's put one in on his second one at 26.3. Is going to get him into 24th spot. This means that we're only lacking one car, Claude Charles, with a lap time, and I don't think he's got enough to get around for a lap in here in qualifying, so he'll start at the back. What about Freesia? Can he deny them the pole? He's not been great at qualifying the past few races in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and he's not going to be much better here because he didn't improve, but still fourth is a much better showing than we've seen in races past.
Absolutely. As I look at Andy T at the moment, just coming around the final sector, and it looks like he's on a decent lap at the moment. He's third in qualifying, but yeah, I guess he would prefer to be on pole position or on the front row at least to try and get a good start and not get held up in the traffic.
And unfortunately for Andy T, he had a big mess up into Tarzan, so I don't expect this one will be quicker. And indeed, he pulls to a halt. He knows that he's done for the day. Now, what about Andy Tiolis here? He's got one last lap to do. He's got less than 20 seconds. Oh boy, this is going to be tight here, Ryan.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to make it round to try and do another lap, because we've only got 7 seconds left on the clock, and no, he's not going to make it for sure.
Yeah, he's going to be just shy by a few hundred feet here as he comes off of Line Dyke, and there he disappears. So let's go through our starting order. Ascari Arena will be starting on the pole with Freakton Kate in second. Andy T starts third, followed by Gerdot Freesia in fourth place. Tomas Shimon will be P5 with Marco Kela in sixth and Juanmi Costa in seventh. Ove Trangrade with a P8 and Severly Seppa way down the order for him in ninth. Steve Bycroft will round out the top 10.
Starting in 11th, we've got Itu Vanakangas with Paul J. Williams in 12th alongside him, and 13th is another Finnish driver of Timo Karjalainen. And then Peter Konasene in 14th with Carl Viernev in 15th, Barry West in 16th, Pablo Suarez in 17th with Laust Olsen in 18th, Dennis Shannon in 19th, and Timothy Reed in 20th.
Brett Wayand is 21st, followed by Dustin Gilliand and 22nd rather. Cristiano Coriani in 23rd is followed by Vimal Anandaraman in 24th. Andrew Gould will be P25, followed by John Eddowes in the 26th spot. Tiolis wasn't able to get that second lap in, so he'll have to settle for 27th. Keith Herner will start 28th, and then Benjamin Tucker 29th. Steve Sarles with a 30th today, followed by Meisinger at 31st. Moreland 32nd, Seusser in 33rd, and Hemmings 34th. Last one to get a time in is Greenfield. Charles will start at the back of the field without a time on the board. Cars are gridding up now. In just a few moments' time, we'll get started here on round 8. As we mentioned, Freakton Kate is expected to be the favored driver, but he's not starting on the pole. He's going to have to go up against Ascari Rina, who has also been quick this season. Engines start to rev. Lights are up. Green flag is out. Off the line. Oh, it's a horrible start for Oskari. And he's already going to lose the lead. Freakton Kata gets up to the front critically here in this race. Frisha takes a look at second from fourth on the grid to his outside. Andy T is going to hold him off. Retain P2. Let's see if everybody makes it through. No, we got a wreck. It seems coming off of Tarzan. And unfortunately, this is a big mashup of cars in the back of the field.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to do there, especially on cold tyres. And yeah, it looks like maybe there wasn't enough room being given by some of the drivers, and that just caused a bit of a concertina effect.
A lot of vehicles. I'm seeing at least 3 of them that have had to take a tow to the pits. So we'll go take a look at that a little later and try to dissect what happened there. Meanwhile, up at the front, Freak with the lead that he was probably hoping for on the grid. Andy T just behind him giving chase with Frisha in third. All the way down to fourth, our Finn who sat on pole, Oscar Irina, unfortunately has a mountain to climb now.
Yeah, absolutely. And passing around Zandvoort is very difficult, especially when you're stuck in a bit of a traffic jam. And yeah, I think his best opportunity of making a move is possibly on the home straight.
So as we get ready to complete lap 1, Freakton Kate takes them around Lion Dyke. He's going to have a 4/10 second gap over Andy T to cross the line for the first time. That doesn't look to be enough for the Brit to close in and give an attack, though he does gain some in the slipstream behind them. Single file line of cars already here as everybody sighs through the first lap. In fact, the first big gap that we've got, though, is between Barry West in 13th and the 12th place of Timo Alainen here in 24th. Otherwise, they're all quite close up at the front.
Yeah, it seems to be that accident at the start has kind of split the field up a little bit, and it's caused that wreck's caused a bit of a big gap now, and it's split the field up in half, you could say. So yeah, people at the back of the field battling away, up at the front and at the back as well.
Yeah, Timo just trying to hold on as we take a look at what happened here at the start. Marco was a part of that. We know that. Let's see if we can figure out what exactly started to cause this. Oh, it looks like he gets tangled with Seppa. Yeah, that's the Ferrari you see him get into. And then unfortunately, when they bounce back onto the track, everybody has to scatter, some of which just wind up flipping. I mean, just a few involved in there. Benjamin Tucker, it looks like, upside down. Andrew Gould, Steve Sarles, Coriani, Teolis, all of them, unfortunately, getting major damage.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, and it's that accident. It was a bit like watching pinballs in action, as Freaks got the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1:26.3.
Sad to see that this field whittled down so early on. Looks like we got about 6 of them in pit lane. I see Suarez going down the order, and Barry West seems to be involved in that one. This was in Tarzan, and this was due to contact, actually. Oh, now that is bizarre. It looks like, Ryan, that Suarez was defending on the inside, and yet they still came together with West coming from the long way around.
Yeah, I don't know if Suarez might have just clipped the inside curb in turn 1 and it maybe just bounced him out a little bit. But that was a bit of a strange incident.
I've had to see both of them get severe damage after that one. Meanwhile, we're up to our leaders once again, who continue to trudge around. Freakton Kate leading Andy T with Garnet Frisha down in third. No changes since we last left them. They're going to come onto the front stretch once again. They're also pulling along Juanmi Costa, who is back in 5th. We haven't mentioned that. He's got a challenge from Tomas Simon in P6. They're actually the closest in this front group. Tomas will have a good shot here. Doesn't, Ryan, look like he's got enough of a straightaway here?
Yeah, it looks like Costa, sorry. Yeah, he might have made a mistake, sorry.
He did indeed. Went way wide there through Tarzan. Held on to the spot, though. Shimon not able to attack. So they'll stay put. Behind them, Steve Bycroft is in there as well. Ove Trangrade trying to see if he can do something with this group. Oh, wow, very close down into Shivlak as Shimon once again getting awful close to the gearbox of Costa. Now into the infield section, as I think he's starting to make Costa feel that pressure. You can see him swing wide yet again, Ryan.
Yeah, Costa's definitely feeling the pressure because on the outside he caught a bit of the grass and got a little bit sketchy. And I think Costa's maybe just feeling the pressure, like you're saying, not getting a chance to settle down into a rhythm. So, yep, it's definitely shown.
Once again, close down into Hans Ernst, but still no attack from Shimon. It's almost looking like it's a matter of time the way things are going. If they battle too much, though, Vanio Congas, who you see in the Ferrari behind them, could easily get himself stuck into the fight. Let's see what kind of run he can get down the front stretch, up towards Tarzan. Shimon is gaining. He could have a shot if he's brave, if he sends it in deep, but it's not going to be there this time. He stays in line.
Yeah, I think he was maybe tempted to make a move, but I guess he didn't want to take the risk at this early stage of the race, so he just decides to settle behind for the moment, and maybe, he closes right up on the brake, and that was, I thought it was going to be end up in contact.
He certainly looks good on the binders. They're in that dark Lotus liveried machine behind the McLaren of Costa. They climb up through Slotemacher to Shivlak one more time. Is Costa going to make another mistake through Masters? We saw him clip the grass last time through as he figured out how to maximize it this time. Yes, that looked a lot more tidy.
Absolutely, and I have to agree with you. Simone looks better on the brakes, and rather than Costa. Costa just looks he just doesn't look comfortable at the moment. He just doesn't seem to be able to push. Maybe it's that mindset of if he pushes too much, he might crash.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to just preserve the car here early on. Down through Hans Ernst yet again. Maybe he's got a hold of himself now. We're seeing fewer mistakes this time around on this lap. They come onto the front stretch. He's got a bit of a gap over Shimon, but a good exit could still bring Tomasz back into things. He's not going to get it, though. So, a breather for Juanmi Costa. A much-needed breath of fresh air for the number 12 up there in 5th place.
Absolutely, and Costa was out on track in the Lotus 49 series yesterday, and he got a great result as well. And again, in this Lotus 79, he's having a great run in 6th position at the moment, but he's... 5th position, but he's not getting it all his own way.
As these two continue to battle, I wonder if we could jump down to the battle for 11th. Paul Williams ahead of Timo Karhalainen in the number 24. This is, well, firmly in the mid-pack. You could see the blue and white machine that we're on board with right now. That is Williams being chased by Timo. Down and into the infield one more time. They're not too far behind the teammate of Williams. That's Peter Koneski in front of them, who we can't see right now. There you see the trio coming down towards Hans Ernst. Oh, and we've had a problem behind them with Wayand. Brett Wayand in the 22 is off course. I think he's managed to get the wall as well. He's able to get the car moving. Let's see how bad the damage is with the replay here, Ryan.
Yep, just looking now, and he just loses it on corner exit and just hits the wall side on, but he manages to keep going. But I don't know how much that will affect the straight line speed.
Yeah, hopefully it didn't affect the aero on the car since he hit it broadside. Oh, it did. Never mind. So there's a big crinkle on that front wing. That certainly won't help him. Thankfully, not too much of a straight line speed circuit here, even with this car. Going back to 11th, to Paul Williams, continuing to play defense while also trailing his teammate. Sure, he'd like to get a little bit more slipstream help from that number 13 to pull him away from the attack of the fin.
Yeah, absolutely. He's coming round his long right-hander, and yeah, Paul, I think he could be doing with the help of his teammate in front, but I guess on the other hand, if you're Peter, you kind of want to concentrate on your own race at the same time in a way.
All of them really pushing the car. You can see it sliding around Renault. Now into Vodafone. A little bit of puff of smoke in front of them. Not sure what that was from. Could have just been some connection issues from somebody ahead of them. Ooh, very close behind, though. Look at Timo just bring that gap down.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it looks like Timo's better on the brakes as well, be able to close right up. But it seems to be as you get onto this home straight, Paul's just able to kind of just stretch out a little bit and just stay out in front. So he could be using a lower downforce configuration possibly.
Ooh, he's got a great exit this time, and Paul knows it. He immediately goes defensive, tries to cover off the desired line, down into Tarzan. Karhalainen is deep into it, maybe a little too deep, locks it up, keeps it around the outside, and he's going to take the spot with an aggressive but fair move.
That was a fantastic move. I thought he was going to run, Timo was going to run wide and not be able to hold him. But credit to him, he actually kept the speed up a little bit and managed to get the run in the exit of turn one and get the move done. So fantastic.
All right, one down, one more to go for Timo. Going up a little bit farther, let's check out between Vanio Congus, Bycroft, and Schrangerade. This is for 7th position. Vanio Congus looks like he's maybe pulling a bit of a gap on those two. Bycroft, who we're used to seeing vie for wins, has not as often been up there at the front. So, it's the car a little bit squirrely on entry. Let's see if he can hold off one of your familiar runners over in Lotus 49, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Over Schrangerade, one of those drivers that you're used to seeing in the Lotus 49, and he could have had a good race yesterday, but unfortunately went out on the very last lap. But at the moment, he's having a good run inside the top 10.
Off of Lyondike, this isn't looking good, unfortunately, for the Norwegian. He is not going to have the run he needs to attack on the bright yellow number 3. Down into Tarzan, still much racing left to go in today's event, as we're not even a third of the way through. These three very much stuck into it, but all of our predictions early before the race seem to be coming true. Passing seems to be just supremely difficult here.
Yeah, pretty much, and especially as they're coming through this twisty section now, you can't really do anything because it's a tight section of the track, and so basically these drivers are just having to stay where they are and just stay in line.
Everybody looking to just focus on their race, try to push out all that's happening around them and not worry too much about what their competitors are trying to do. Although Ove Trangerade see it, if he can distract him, unfortunately trying a little too hard as he nearly lost it coming out of Renault. Can we get an onboard replay of this save? He lost time, but woohoo! Let's watch it one more time. We're used to seeing Ove sideways, Ryan. So
yeah. Yeah, in the Lotus 49 you can maybe get away with it, but with this car, if it's a bit of a feisty beast, if you get it ever so wrong and try and overdrive it, it'll bite you, and unfortunately Ove found that out.
So as that's been happening, let's check in on our leaders, because we haven't looked at them in a while. And Freakton Kate, as Andy told me, is just too quick to beat here today. He's 1.3 seconds ahead. He's been inching away from Andy, who has not been able to drop Gernot Friesche, but none of them have made any attacks that we've noticed so far yet this race. It's just all line astern for that podium.
Yeah, pretty much. And just looking as well to see if there's anything else going on. And yeah, up at the front anyway, it seems to have spread out a little bit.
So officially, the drivers we've dropped, for those wondering: Carl Villeneuve, Savary Seppa, Marco Kela is out, and Andrew Gould is unfortunately an early retirement. Barry West is still taking repairs after he was involved in a second incident later on. I'm not sure if he plans to return. We have had Gilliland, Coriani, and Greenfield, as well as Shaning, it looks like, all come in for some small repairs from that opening incident, come back out, and they're trying to gather whatever points they can.
Yep, that's pretty much the name of the game. If you want to try and score some points, even if you've been caught in an incident or had to take repairs, and just get back out there and just go around doing laps, because you never know, you can pick up points.
A little bit of a battle between Konecki and Karhalainen. Now that Timo's overtaken Williams, he's sizing up his teammate. He's got a decent run. And is this lap traffic in front of him? Yes, it is. This is Claude Charles. That's not for position, but he could play a part in the fight. He's going to break early, sees them coming, lets them inside, but it certainly throws off Konecki, who goes way wide. He keeps from losing the spot. but looks a little bit rattled.
Yep, similar to Kwame Costa. He seems to be a little bit rattled and just making silly mistakes, just over driving into on corner entry and not being able to focus.
Oh, and something's happened. This has allowed Gernot to close in on Andy T, the multi-time champion, trying to see if he can get up to second spot, and so far hasn't had a chance. Just behind him, worth mentioning that Oscar Urina, the two-time winner this season, appears that he might have a shot to get inserted into this battle as well. Nothing doing down in a Hans Ernst from Friesia, but if I was T, I'd be a little bit worried.
Yeah, if I was him as well, I would be slightly worried and just maybe try and keep Gernot behind as long as possible. At the moment, Gernot seems to be the quicker driver as they come onto the home straight now, and he's getting closer, but I don't think he'll be close enough as they head down to turn 1.
Friesia, he's showing himself though. He's trying to get into the head of Andy T. See if he can elicit a mistake. Nothing doing that time. Behind them, I said that Rina might be looking at getting involved in this, but actually, Tomasz Simon is still behind him. So if anything, he might be looking in the mirrors a little bit more. There you can see the McLaren of Rina in the number 5, leading ahead of the Lotus of Shimon.
Yep, and Simone has managed to get by Kwame Costa. I noticed as well. I didn't notice that, but I just looked behind it as soon as you said that. So, yep, this lead pack's managed to break away now, and Simone has managed to catch up to Rennie.
Through the infield section, up to Vodafone. Friesia, who almost never gives up from our experience, could still very much make himself an issue in this championship by taking points away from our leaders. If we can do something with Andy T, who's found another gear this season, who's been leading for part of the championship, but now shares that lead with a man who is wrecked out. So you have to wonder then, Ryan, does T fight hard? He knows he's going to get a lot of points over his main rival, and he doesn't necessarily need to fight Friesia as hard. I mean, what would you do in his situation?
It's one of those things as a racing driver. It's kind of, you want to fight and do as well as possible, but on the other hand, if I was Andy T, I would maybe just think about the championship and just kind of use that Alan Prost approach in a way. Just take the points and think of the championship.
We had an incident between Sarles in the number 32 and Seufzer in the number 29. Unfortunately, I think this is, Seufzer was lap traffic, I'm pretty certain. Let's take a look at the replay. Marcus was trying to get by Greenfield. And they're both going to go off at Sheavlock here. Sarles approaching very quickly. Maybe just did not expect to approach that quickly. And, they just get tangled. Both are able to keep going. Probably a little bit frustrated after that one, unfortunately. So, as we come back to the battle between Bycroft and Uwe, let's keep the cameras here, but I do believe we've got one of our retirees ready to talk to us, and that would be Barry West. Barry, welcome to the booth. Sad that we're talking to you earlier than we would like to, but tell us a little bit about what happened out there. Were you involved at all with the huge wreck we saw at the very start?
Slightly. I got... You can hear me okay, yeah?
Yep, we have you.
Yeah, there was a bit of an incident on the left-hand side. I was on the right-hand side of the track fighting Pablo to get the inside for the next bend. Managed to pull away from him, and then I saw it happening. Somebody moved over the track to get around the incident, which forced Carl over, and he obviously lifted, and I just caught the back of Carl, sent him up in the air. I had no damage, and I carried on the grass, trundled on, and carried on fighting with Pablo. So I was lucky to get away with it. My two teammates, Paul and Peter in front, they managed to survive. And then I didn't have any damage, but Pablo was right on my tail, and we had a few close calls. And then on the last, was it lap 3, I think, right? I was going down the straight defending on the inside, held the corner, and I think he just turned in on me. And I think we'd have got away with initial contact, but like last week you were saying about how these cars got damaged. His back wheel caught my front left and just wrecked the suspension, and yet he got away with it. But I think that was a warp incident. It was a second contact, so we both probably got away with the first one. But just one of those things, and we've had some close races in the past, so yeah, no probably does well.
Glad to hear there's no hard feelings. Sad to see you not be able to enjoy Zandvoort a little bit more, but next week's going to be Barcelona. Do you anticipate some better results there?
No, I've never raced there. Yeah, so that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
I guess the silver lining spin is you can start to practice early.
I think I'll call it a day today. I had a good result in the race before, so yeah, that's good.
Well, again, commiserations. That was Barry West, an unfortunate early DNF here today at Zandvoort. We've been watching on screen as Freesia has been getting closer, and good timing. Just as we close that up, Freesia takes a peek. I think he's ready to try and dispose of Andy T here, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting ready to pounce and make a move and try and get by as quickly as possible. But Andy T, I think by the looks of it, he's just getting more and more rattled.
What can Freesia do to try and get by as this has been going on? It does appear that Rinna has been closing the gap slightly up to them. He's got it to 0.6 of a second back there. This could erupt into a 4-car fight, depending on how long it takes Freesia to complete the pass. If he tries it, which once again, different lines down through Tarzan. Andy T leaving a little bit of a door open. Is that going to be a danger, Ryan?
It's possible. I mean, there's some corners around this track you can't afford to leave that door open, otherwise people behind will try and take advantage of it. And at the moment, yeah, they say the Arnold Trulli used to cause a bit of a train, but in this case, it's the T train.
As Andy T hoping he doesn't serve everybody on a platter and can hold on to this second place down through Masters. Everybody just sailing the car through there and then braking hard through the curved braking zone into Renault. Things looking pretty close between Shimon and Rinna through there as well. Shimon is fighting very, very hard to try and give himself an opportunity he hasn't quite spotted yet. Down into Hans Ernst, nobody poking their nose out this time.
Yeah, so they're basically just staying where they are at the moment, and I think most of these guys are just waiting until the home straight to try and make a move, because I think that's where the best opportunity is to come around the final corner now. And it looks like I'm just watching Fritza again, and he's not as close as he was before.
Oh, but I think that Shimon's got a very good run coming up to Tarzan. You can see a little bit of a look from Freesia, but none from Tomasz. He doesn't even get out of the slipstream, curiously. Oh, and Juan Costa's in pit lane. What has happened here? Try to see if I can figure it out. Oh, he's had a big wreck off of Lyondike. This happened maybe about 40 or 50 seconds ago. Let's see if we can get a replay. He actually got airborne, and then Vadio Congas got a very good view of this from on board, seeing this car sailing through the air. This is Costa coming down into Hans Ernst. So happened off of Lyondike, the final corner. Number 12 was having a good race up until then, and unfortunately, Ryan, it's going to be self-made error. He's got nobody to blame on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. He was having a great run in the top 10, and it was like I don't know if he... Oh, I think he's going to catch it. Oh, he does. He catches the curve on the outside, and it launches him into the wall.
There's the view from Vadio Congas, who almost has to go into the pits himself just to avoid the wrecking car. Nice job to stay out of the drama. Vadio Congas will inherit 6th from that one as we come back live. Back to that battle for P4. Here's another bite of the apple. Is Shimon going to go for it this time? Let's watch.
He's got to run down the home straight, and he's going to make a move up inside. No, he doesn't make a move again, so maybe Shimon is more than happy just to sit there and plan what he's going to do.
Let's It's only a matter of time, I feel like. Oh, and Andy T's now got lap traffic. Coriani is going to pull out of the way. Nicely done. Letting all 4 drivers through. Maybe checked up some of them a little bit, but otherwise the battle continues mostly unaffected. Frisha actually appears to have closed in slightly on the back half of the course now. Swinging into Masters one more time. Starts to lose out the wake, just making it so frustrating trying to get close enough to attack.
Absolutely, and I think Andy T, I thought you got sideways for a second there, but this was like my camera angle. But Andy T, again, he's just holding these guys up. Right? He's doing a good defensive job at the moment.
Up ahead of them, Freakton Kate, who honestly hasn't been running away at a huge rate of knots. It's up to 3 seconds. But again, it's 18 laps to 19 laps into this race. So it's almost been more of a case of just consistency. He's plugging away and has pulled that gap up. Oh, and behind them is that finally an attack that we're going to see as Frisha must have gotten an opportunity with the lap traffic. Andy T goes defensive. Gernot spies a chance that he's been waiting for, goes the long way around, uses the banking, and it's going to be a drag race off the corner. Momentum in favor of Frisha, and the multi-time champion is finally going to get into second place behind them. They all accordion together as this is going to cause a chain reaction potentially. Rina, unfortunately, getting the worst of it as Simone takes a look, but then is not brave enough to try and go side by side through Slotemacher.
That was a fantastic move from Fritza, and he done the same as someone else done. He took the advantage of using the camber in turn 1 and getting the run. He used it to the advantage and got the run on the exit. And he made a move on the outside, on the outside, and it was just fantastic. Great stuff from Gernot.
Now, here's where my curiosity is piqued. Now that Frisha is clear, is he going to be faster than Freakton Kate? Can he actually start to close that gap? The battling cost them time, and it's up to 3.5 seconds. But he's still got, what is this, about 15, 16 laps to go here?
It'll be interesting to watch. I think he might be able to close that gap down a little bit, but the way the Freak's going at the moment, he's not pushing or overdriving. He's just kind of maintaining that gap, and I think he's in a good position at the moment. But Gernot, I think he'll be giving it everything to try and catch him.
No opportunity for any of the 4 down the front stretch this time by. These 4 have really been putting the heat on in terms of pace. I remember we mentioned Vanio Congas back there who inherited 6. He's a whole 6.5 seconds behind those 4 battling for P2. So credit to them as we now hop on board with the Finn. Watching his pace, taking it through the heavily banked Hugenholtz corner. Of course, named after one of the designers of this track. John Hugenholtz also famously designed Suzuka. What if we could jump back again to a battle that we saw earlier? Peter Konietzki and Timo Karhalainen, who are also going to get checked up by lap traffic. Greenfield going to try and stay out of the way. Timo has gotten very close, and actually Greenfield just went completely off track there behind them. Don't need to go to it, but I think he's decided it's time to call it a day. Timo's got a great opportunity here. He's going to be on the outside, though, down into Hans Ernst. Is he going to be able to outbreak him? This will be a tough ask into this corner, which starts with a right-hander, but it switches back left. But Peter successfully defends.
A great defensive driver from Peter, but Timo's looking really racy, and he seems to be the quicker out of these 2 at the moment. He's head around the final corner onto the home straight, and it looks like Timo might get someone's crossing the straight.
Oh my goodness. Who is that? That was Uwe Traegerade. What in the world? How did he wind up there? Oh, and it's almost a carbon copy of Costa.
Right, yeah, it looks like he comes around the final corner. He's going to cut. Yeah, he catches the grass and just unfortunately goes into the wall and gets airborne into the air. And that was I bet that was scary for the drivers coming down the home straight. Whew.
thankfully was able to tow the car pretty quickly afterwards and get out of the way. Well, another one bites the dust, unfortunately. So we once again take a look at our leader. Oh, it is lap traffic cost Freak Tenkate, or is this pure pace? Freesia already down to 1.6 seconds.
That was crazy. And I thought it would have took longer than that to catch him, but it looks like traffic is playing a factor.
Looking at the lap times, there's a 26.7 last time for Freak Tenkate. That's within pace, so maybe it happened this lap. Let's watch and see. A 27.9. Yeah, that's a second slower. That must have been traffic then. But critically, the previous lap before, Gernot Freesia has been unleashed. He set his fastest lap of the race at a 26.5. Now, he followed it up with a 26.6. Some of that must have been lap traffic himself. Regardless, I think the game is on. Looks like Freak, yeah, all last 3 laps slower, with the biggest chunk being the last one through at almost a second and a half. Granted, we can attribute much of that to traffic. The ones before, though, you cannot.
Yeah, absolutely not. And the Freak, like I said before, he's probably just maintaining that gap, but Gernot Freesia is on a mission to try and close that gap down. And at the moment, it's round about 1.7 to 1.8 seconds.
Started this race in 4th. He's looking to finish it up at the top spot. We actually need to check to see. Let's see, how many has he won? Actually, nope, he's won 0. Gernot Freesia is winless so far this season. He's missed a number of races, hence why he's not really in the championship as much currently. Of course, he'll get some drop weeks to help him out, and he will regain, but he's not a serious threat for the time being. Let's jump back behind him as he's still got time to try and catch up. And we've got a nice, exciting battle to watch here between Koneski and Karhalainen.
It's coming to the home straight now. Karhalainen's got a great run, but he's not going to be close enough to make a move, I think, into turn 1. Is up ahead. It looks like they've got a back marker, and that could maybe mix us up a little bit.
It certainly seems to have played a role in a number of fights we've been watching. It's Tony Teolis up in front of them. That's the McLaren that you see badly damaged. Out and running once again. Coming off of Hugenholtz. They're going to be gaining, I imagine, relatively quickly on these faster straights, with a lot of wing crumpled up on the number 27. But now they're coming into one of the worst spots to catch him here in the infield section, where it's hard to pull out of the way, but the heads-up driving of Teolis allows a very easy gap for them through.
Absolutely, and now Timo is closer than ever before, and he's absolutely all over the back of Peter. And I think this is probably Timo's best opportunity to make a move.
A little bit closer a few laps ago, actually getting side by side, coming down towards the braking into Hans Ernst, but he's not going to get that chance this time. We're hearing a little bit of chatter between our leaders. And I'm trying to see if it's because of lap traffic. I think, yeah, they just overtook another one, but nothing really happening up there. I'm not quite sure what's got them talking amongst each other so much.
Yeah, it could be just the traffic playing a factor, maybe just a bit of frustration, but Timo, again, he's close, but he can't make a move into turn 1 on Peter.
Still keeping him honest out there, making sure that if he makes a mistake, he's going to have to pay for it. Same thing for Rinna, who is now on the back of Andy T. Andy, who qualified supremely well here today in 3rd. Well, he's back to 3rd. He had a great start as well. Has unfortunately been having to play rear guard almost the whole way through.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I thought Andy would have been possibly up there challenging for the win, but at the moment he's having to watch his mirrors behind him because he's got 2 cars behind to keep an eye on. So yeah, I don't know if he's maybe using the more downforce than these guys as well, so maybe just costing him in the straight, but in the corners he's maybe just able to stay ahead.
I have to admit, Ryan, it continues to amuse me that we have a British driver with the name Andy T. It'd almost be like you being named Ryan Scotch. As they come down the front stretch One more time. No chance to attack as T gets himself a handy gap exactly when he needs to. Shimon back there in 5th. He's been waiting patiently. Wonder when that patience is going to run out for the number 2. Because he's one who has also taken wins so far this season. 2 of them, in fact. One at Road America and one at Most Sport. I'm sure he is not content to settle for just a top 5 today.
Absolutely not. And I think you've got about, I believe, 10 laps remaining in this race. So I think if he wants to make a move, he's got to start making them now, as maybe try and make a move on the home straight or when he gets a chance.
Do you feel that pressure from inside the cockpit when the laps start to dwindle down and you've been sitting behind the gearbox of another car all race long? Does it start to get to you a little bit inside?
I'll be honest, I kind of had that in the absolute beginners league at the Nordschleife this afternoon. I was battling someone on the last 2 laps. The second to last lap, I was tempted to make a move, and then I decided just stay behind and just try and make a move on that long back straight at the Nordschleife. And that's when I decided to make my move, which unfortunately I didn't pull off. But it's one of those things you've just got to, you kind of got to plan it out in a way.
We finally had a change for position between Peter Koneski and Timo Karhalainen. Trying to find where this happened. Oh, it looks like in Shivlak. Yeah, wow, way to the outside, riding the rim. And Koneski's lucky he did not get into the kitty litter there. Now, how did this kick off, though? Oh, it just came in way wide. And Timu pounced. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was a fantastic move. He managed to get the move done, and is the team has had issues?
Now that might have been someone else because Timo
Oh, sorry, my bad.
is still ahead of Peter here. Actually, let's go ahead of them because it's gotten very close once again between Andy T, who actually goes a little wide into Vodafone, and Rinna had to think about it, but that compromised his exit. Shimon gains on him and once again doesn't show his nose. This has been pretty consistent all race long. Tomasz yet to really make an attempt, even though he's been awful close.
Yeah, this could be his best chance because he's getting close to Ascari as they head round the final corner onto the home straight. And Tomasz has got a great run, and they're all trying. Oh, that was so close.
Yeah, that laps car that they're trying to all take a little bit of slipstream from. Nobody really finds an advantage there. Now, keep an eye on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Freak Tenkate is only 9/10 ahead of Gernot Friesche at this point. He's continued to chip away. This almost seems like too little too late, though, because once he gets to him, then he's actually got to overtake. I got to wonder if the number 1 car is going to be kicking himself, thinking, I should have made the overtake sooner.
Yeah, especially around Zandvoort, you've got to try and make a move when you get the chance. You can't just sit behind someone for a bit, otherwise we're just losing too much time. And that seems to be the case with Gernot, unfortunately.
So as we keep watching the battle for P3, T just trying to bring home the points today, knowing he's going to get a big gap over his main rival. We turn the cameras now to Freak Tenkate. He's had it all to himself up at the front, but now he's starting to get an unwanted guest. That's Gernot Friesche giving chase. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Tenkate, I believe, is a Dutch driver. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. He is Benelux, so this, even if he isn't, this is sort of a home track for him. Friesche with the fastest lap of the race in the meantime, which was a 1:25.683 compared to Tenkate's 25.758, a 10th quicker. Once again, he is reeling him in bit by bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at that gap now, Gernot is definitely closing it down for sure. But the question is, where does he make the move, and where does he make the move, and when will he make the move?
On board with the helmet cam. I always love this shot. Gives us a good idea of exactly what the driver's experiencing. And seeing exactly how the hands move. Compared to some we've seen so far today, this is relatively smooth. But he has cut it down to 0.7 of a second this time through.
Yep, and just look at watching on board Gernot now heading into the chicane, and he closes right up on Freak, and they just about straight lines in a way that second part of the chicane.
Down to 0.6 of a second. He might be able to chop a whole 0.2, a quarter of a second maybe, on this lap. He's going to get the slipstream this time through, and they're going to be 7 to go. So as they come across the line, Tenkate with a 25.814, Frisha a 25.6, another fastest lap of the race.
And yep, it's just Gernot's definitely closing now, and as proven by that fastest lap, he's absolutely just giving it everything. His Freak runs wide ever so slightly.
I think that's what amazes me about Gernot, is that iron will that he has. Seems like he never gives up, even when he starts well back in the pack, even when it seems like the pace isn't there. He makes something of the race. It's now down to 0.3 of a second. He's going to have some chances. He's got a few laps to try and do it, but will the opportunity show? Are there any cracks in the armor of Freak Tenkate?
It's possible. I just watched Freak now, and he's getting a little bit. He's getting a little bit sideways there, and Gernot is absolutely just about on his gearbox.
He might have something. He's got it down to 0.3 of a second. And look at him just close in these slower corners. Tantalizingly close. And maybe a little bit of a different line. Tenkate slightly off. Is this going to be enough? Risha will have a good run. He'll have the draft down the pit straight. He's in the tire tracks, going defensive as Tenkate goes to the inside. He's going to go all the way to the pit wall just to get him the inside of the corner. And Tenkate outbrakes himself. He's going to hand it away, and he's going to hand away second, third, fourth, all the way down to P5 with one mistake after leading every lap of this race.
As we look at the replay now, and Fritz gets a move up the inside. He takes a look up the inside, but kind of hesitates, I guess, and he just distracted Freak, and unfortunately Freak made a mistake, ran into the gravel, and he's lost a few positions.
To borrow an Americanism, shake and bake for Gernot Frisha. Scared him off the line, and now he's got an open road to take this one home. Andy T has not been able to close in on him, but he will get back up to second place because of Freak Tenkate making that mistake.
Yep, and Gernot just needs to hold on now, and he should have this. Hopefully, I don't jinx him. He should have this one in the bag, because he's just put in an absolute dynamite drive to recover and take the lead.
A little bit farther back, we saw Suarez get into a bit of an incident, but he's still going. He's in a fight with John Eddowes. He's been trying to overtake him here, and there you see the damage on Suarez's car. He's the red and white machine trailing in the number 25.
Yep, good battle between these guys as well. And it's similar to the Lotus 49 this series. It's you've got, even up at the front, you've got a battle, but further back in the pack, you've got battles going on as well. So it's good to see some of these guys that are maybe not up at the front as much, and maybe in the mid pack getting some airtime.
Eddowes trying to stay smooth in the number 26 as he holds back Suarez. This is going to be a nice iRating game, by the way, even if Eddowes gets past. Same thing with Suarez. Like I said, numbers 26 and 25 respectively, and they're running for 14th and 15th.
Yep, absolutely. That's the thing with these top split races as well. You can get, like you say, even if you finish in the mid pack, you get a nice iRating gain as well.
Oh, what's this? Ascari doesn't seem content to settle for third place. Going to see if he can close in on Andy T in the championship. This will be important for Ascari, because right now he's trailing by about 40 or so points, so he's got to make good on it.
Indeed, as we come round the final corner, and it looks like Ascari's not close enough heading onto the home straight, so Andy T is managing just to hold that gap, but up ahead we've got more back markers.
4 laps to go now. Frisch dealing with them nicely. Looks like Oscary, he has a little bit of a look. We've seen that numerous times, it seems like. Andy T just can't seem to get the car down to the apex in some of these slow corners.
Yeah, I noticed that as well earlier. Maybe just struggling with understeer a little bit. So it maybe just costing him in the corner exit, not being able to get in the power when he wants to. But as he come up through this twisted section now, and Oscary's closing right up on him, and can't really do anything. It was really close.
I wonder, Andy T's sweating now, knowing that one of his rivals is trying to threaten and overtake and take some of his points away. He doesn't have too many more laps that he needs to keep at bay. But can he do it? We've already seen one fast driver buckle under the pressure in the form of Freakton Kate, who still hasn't caught up to this group. Will we get a second one who finds himself just collapsing in a heap when he feels the pressure? And around 3 to go this time by. We'll have Dennis Shaney in front of them. Is he going to let them through? No, it looks like he's not lifting right here. Now he is. Now he pulls off to the side. Second, third, and fourth, easily through.
Yep, so Andy T is doing a great job of defending from these guys at the moment. And yeah, he's not, unlike Freak, he's not buckling under the pressure so far, as they've got a back marker in front of them as they head around this long hairpin, and the back marker keeps out of the way.
Yep, that was Keith Herner. Gave him a verbal message, letting him know which side he's going to stay on. And we saw this last time where he gets very close to the back of him, but Rinna coming up into the very fast Sheevlock, not able to do anything with it. Can he stay close enough to sneak up the inside of Renault? We've seen some drivers do that in the past here at this track, but no. Andy T played defensive down to the inside. In fact, he's playing defensive in a number of corners now, it looks like, and this is hurting his line. He's under attack. He holds the middle of the road as Rinna to the outside. He's got an overlap down into Hans Ernst. Can't do anything with it. He's got to be careful. Look at Tomasz Simon watching and waiting, licking his chops.
Absolutely, he's just sitting there, just watching these guys, what they're going to do, and I think it's pretty much Andy T's causing a bit of a bottleneck effect now, and Oscary, every time he gets a run, as Andy T moves to the inside to try and break the toe.
2 laps to go this time. It's winding down. Oh, both of them sending it in deep. Everybody is trying their hardest to see if they can get something here. But neither is able to overtake Andy T, retaining that second place. Rinna almost pushing him through the corner. This is going to be incredible here at the end. Who is able to do something with all this pace? What can Andy T to keep him behind? Once again, playing defense. They come together. All 3 of them come together. They're all off course, and just like that, Freakton Kate is back up into second place. Oscar Rinna gets it going first. He's going to be in third. Andy T just behind him. Oscary apologizing over the radio. Shimon is done with 2 laps left. He retires the car. Here's the incident. I mean, he was trying to get as close as possible, and I guess he flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, pretty much, and that was just unfortunate because that was a fantastic battle between those 3. But as we cross the line now, and it looks Geraint Fritz's starting the last lap, and Freak is up in second place again after falling back and losing a few positions after making that mistake in turn 1. So a great recovery.
It does appear that Andy T has been given the spot. I don't know if that's just on raw pace that Rinna, because he's very damaged. Oscary, unfortunately, has a very ill-looking car. So that could just be a case of T was able to get by on his own merits. Where is Vanio Congas? Vanio Congas is coming up quick, so he might actually overtake Oscary as well. And then they've got 5 seconds to Bycroft, so I'm not sure that he's going to be able to demote him one more position. We're on board with Vani Okongas now. Yeah, this is going to be easy pickings, it looks like. How hard does he even try and defend here? All Itu needs to do is just get the run and outbreak him. But we're not going to be able to see it because, unfortunately, we've got to go to our winner, Gernot Frische, who's held up by traffic yet again. I don't think he cares at this point. A clear path to victory, though he had to fight for it. A win for Gernot Frische. His first of the season comes at Zandvoort with Freek ten Kate in second and Andy T settling for third, which was where he started, but what a journey it was to get there. A2 just sneaks by into fourth. Rina, only a top 5 today. Fight happening between John Eddowes and Pablo Suarez. Last 2 on the lead lap, actually. They come out through Masters. Oh, what a big spin from Suarez is going to end it right there. So Eddowes going to easily take 13th place with those last 2 on the lead lap. So I believe as they trundle home, we're going to take a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Stick around, though, because we'll have all the upcoming races here on your screen. Welcome back to Circuit Park Zandvoort, where we just watched round 8 of the Sunday Grand Prix series. And it was Gernot Frische who took the win. All predictions were leading towards Freek ten Kate, but he got scared off the line. And though he shouldn't have finished on the podium, luck was looking his way, and he wound up taking second after multiple drivers in front of him had their own incident. Andy T among them, who was having to play hard defense and was doing a pretty darn good job, I must say, until unfortunately his luck ran out and he got involved in a wreck. He had to settle for P3. A2 Vani Okongas was fourth with Oscar Urina in P5 after starting it on the pole with Steve Bycroft in the 6th position, gaining from 10th. Timu Karhalainen was P7 with Peter Koneski in the 8th spot. Paul Williams finished in 9th. And how about Timothy Reed? Qualified 20th, and he finished 10th.
Finishing 11th was Lals Alston with 12th place going to finish drive at Vivo Anna Ryman. 13th is John Eddowes with Pablo Suarez in 14th. Brett Wayand in 15th with 16th going to Benjamin Tucker. Tamas Simon finishing in 17th after that unfortunate incident. Keith Herner in 18th. 19th is Simon Meisinger. And rounded at 20th is Miguel Morlan.
From there on down, you have drivers that ran into big issues. Teolis in 21st, Seufzer 22nd, Shaning 23rd, and Hemmings 24th. Sarles 4 laps down in 25th, Coriani 26th, and Gilliland in 27th. Pretty much DNFs from there on down in the field. We've got our winner ready to talk to us. Gernot, I have to admit, we were naysayers. We saw you manage the overtake on Andy, and we thought for sure he's waited too long. He's got to make up the gap, and then he's got to overtake Freak. We didn't think you could do it.
Yeah, it was a crazy race with such a huge field without a split, so it was quite difficult with all the lap cars. Actually, exactly that helped me in the end because I could make up some time behind lap cars, and the others were struggling more than I was. So yeah, it was a really good race for me. Feels good to be back.
Qualifying, though, not as good as seasons past. This seemed to be an improvement from what we've seen in previous races. Is this a track that just really jives with you?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why, but it's always the same, more or less, on the high downforce tracks. I'm much more competitive than on the super low downforce tracks. Don't know the reason for that. And on the other hand, in this race, things were also the opposite from usually because it was faster in race trim than in qualifying trim for whatever reason.
Apologies for us having to be a little short today, but anybody you want to thank for today's victory?
Actually, I want to thank my opponents because they were very polite after the race, and it was good fun racing against them today. So looking forward for more to come. See you guys.
Sportsmanship in this series. And up next, a bit of I guess what you call a freak second place here for Freak Kate as Ryan talks to him.
Yeah, Freak's finishing in second place after a bit of an up and down race up at the front, leading the race leading most of the race, but unfortunately Gernot caught you in the closing stages, and then all of a sudden you made that mistake in turn one. Talk about it from your perspective, Freak.
Yeah, that's right. He was closing in on me, and I was kind of getting nervous. And he was pressuring me in the race before this race, and we got real close, but I managed to stay in front. But yeah, right now, it's kind of true what Ossian always tells us that it's hard if you see Gernot in your mirrors because you know how good he is. So that kind of worked on me. So it was a terrible mistake, and I of course I didn't deserve the podium because of the wreck in front of me. But I got lucky there. There was a lot of traffic on track. It costed me a lot of time, but probably that's the same for everybody, probably. But it was a fun race. But I gotta improve in staying cool under pressure.
Yeah, we noticed as soon as Gernot caught up to you, you were kind of just making little mistakes, I guess. But you made that mistake. But I guess with a second place, it's still not a bad result.
Yeah, it's probably my best finish in a broadcast race. Yeah. I usually do a bit better during the week, but somehow Sunday is not a good day for me. It's probably the pressure of you guys.
And finally, before we let you go, rather, is there anyone you want to say thank you to?
Yeah, I got his friend CJ Hunter. He makes my setups, and he's also giving driving tips, and he's incredibly important to me. And I think his setups are the best. So that gives me a great advantage over other guys, I think. Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, again, congratulations on second place, Freak. It's not where you wanted to finish, but it's still a good result, and we'll look forward to seeing you on track next time.
Will do.
As I believe up next, they've got a Andy T with you, Joe.
Yes, indeed. Third place finisher. Played great defense all race long, but it seemed it almost fell apart at the end. I mean, talk to us about that incident.
I think it's just a racing incident where Oscar is following close and I've sort of had to go half defensive, so I'm not carrying the usual speed, and he's misjudged it. In fairness, he apologised over voice straight away and then immediately gave the place back when he could, which that's just gentleman racing, and I gained a lot of respect for him for doing that. That was fantastic. But not to make excuses, but my car was bottoming out at the end, so I was losing top speed, which hasn't happened all week, and I underfueled. So for maybe 25 laps of that race, I was projected to have no fuel at the end. So that was good. And then the back marker cost me a place to Frake, basically, and I lost draft. So that was the fuel saving gone.
Well, still, you did manage to finish ahead of your two main rivals in the championship, both Oskari and Seppa. Is that some consolation? Are you looking at those points and thinking, well, it's better than nothing?
To be honest, I'm not thinking too much about it. Like, there's drop weeks to come into play, and there's fast boys in this series, so who knows what can happen. I think the main thing about today that really sucks is Frake didn't get his win. He was so fast all week. I'm really gutted for him. That sucks. And also, Tamash, I'm really sorry you got caught up in that, buddy. That's not a good way to go out of a race.
Kind of sucks seeing that. Well, to be fair to you, your prediction was halfway true during the race, as Freak was up at the front for most of it. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Just all the Lotus drivers, to be honest. It's a great community, and I'm doing my very best to push participation up, but it's really difficult. So I need everyone on the soapboxes trying to get people to drive this car because it's amazing. And you guys for the broadcast, of course. And Grumpy Temu, as always.
Thanks to Andy T for the credits. And one last one. I believe Ryan's going to talk to Oscar Arena, who finished 5th.
Yeah, Oskari finishing in 5th, and he could have been maybe a podium position, but unfortunately that incident in the closing stages, Oskari with you and Andy and the Thomas, I believe it was, unfortunately kind of just took that plan out the window.
Yeah, it did, because Andy was losing lots of speed on the last few laps, and I was following really close to the fast section. I just misjudged it, the whole situation. Like, I was too close, and I touched him.
Yeah, I mean, just that incident. I guess you were kind of just caught out by the closing speed in a way.
Yeah, actually, I knew I was really close that time around. I was trying to get like the over/under to the inside to the next corner, but I just completely misjudged it and touched him.
Andy did say that as soon as that incident happened, you gave the position back. So he said he's got a lot of respect for you after that. So it must be good to hear that.
Yeah, it's great to hear, because we have we have had our problems before. So I mean, I didn't even think about it, because that was clearly my fault. And we're just trying to be a big family here. So there's no reason to piss off anybody, because that was clearly my mistake, and I just gave the place back. I should have been a little bit faster there, because Edu got by on the last lap as well, but it's fine.
Great stuff. And before we let you go, Oskari, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, you guys and everybody on the track today, because the level of drivers was really high today. I had no chance. I had a good quali, but nothing I could do in the race. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff. As that was Oskari Rini finishing in 5th place after that unfortunate incident. And I have to say, though, Joe, that was a fantastic race to watch.
Yeah, that was a good one for sure. So hopefully we'll get real F1 as exciting when they head to there eventually. But we want to close up with a big thank you to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, a thank you goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. You can see her Bandcamp link right there as well. Thanks to the team today, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media, including our Twitter, which is at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Our merchandise store is linked below. It's just gsrc.storenvy.com, and that'll be right next to the subscribe button. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure and click it. The next race is going to be at Barcelona. That'll be Sunday, November 15th at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar, including, in just a few moments' time, the finale for the IMSA iRacing Triple Crown Challenge. That'll actually be over on iRacing's channel. That'll be at Sebring at 2 p.m. Eastern, so don't miss it. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.